to boat on the lake during the night. However, they are being paid for breeding the fish. So in the end, the fishermen gain nothing, but the fishermen pay the money for the breeding of the fish. Would you say that is correct? An interesting business. Nevertheless, let's go over to the next question. I have two questions. We very well know that the lakes are either privately owned, municipality owned, or state owned. I have a question. Based on your experience, who are the better managers of lakes? Who are, well, more responsible managers? Well, it differs. The most responsible managers of lakes are those who are focusing more on work at hand and less about their personal benefits, but differs from case to case. And the question about second question about the use of lakes. You mentioned that the sludge extraction may be harmful to the lake. If I'm correct, the sludge is a biological fertilizer. What would be the harm to the lake? Could you, well, elaborate? Well, there are not many examples in practice, but for example, in Ieelpa lake in the far end, there have been attempts to produce the sludge. They have dug holes in the ground, so that they are quite deep, and the fish sometimes like it and sometimes don't like it, but these are artificial sort of holes that are being drilled into a lake, and we could say that it is a sort of a pit instead of a lake. We are transforming a lake into a pit. And you mentioned that artificial growing in the lake sort of also related to the sludge. If we use the sludge to fertilize the fields, we could say that we are supporting the biological farming and not destroying lakes. Well, it would be better not to pollute the lake altogether with any kind of vegetation or anything. What concerns, for example, Ieelpa lakes, before they created recreational facilities with toilets and everything, they were much more prettier, and they will not be able to extract all the sludge from the lake. They will be able to only extract the sludge that can be industrially extracted, and altogether the situation will only deteriorate. But what you're saying is that this free fertilizer, the sludge, should not be extracted from lakes. Well, those are not exactly fertilizers, mineral fertilizers. Well, it's a fertilizer then, we agree, and it's not free, by the way. It's anyway an economic activity, and it's by no ways sort of charity towards lakes. A quick additional question. You do have a lake, I suppose, from having so many questions. No, I was just interested in the topic. I have a comment related to fishing and sludge extraction, which is, in my opinion, very positive. So if these activities are conducted according to the law and in a sustainable manner, that would not harm lakes. Well, you see, sustainable and wise management is not always profitable. And thank you for bringing up the fishing issue. A typical example: a fish is put into a lake. The carp is put into a lake, so they are destroying the lake ecosystem because they are consuming the local feed. And another example, for example, you put in another fish, that is very pleasant to fish, and there might be conflicts between various species of fish in a lake, unless they have existed for some time. So the managers working with fish, it 90% of cases are not taking into account the ecosystem and the impact on the ecosystem. So you are more a friend of a lake than a friend of a fish, I understand. So when a person goes to a shop, you can see that you have, for example, the salmon from Norway and other fish from other countries, and he's saying, you know, my country of blue lakes is so green, I'm sorry, but not blue, so green that I can't buy in a shop the local fish. And you know, by transporting the salmon from Norway, you're not making it by any means greener. You know, frankly speaking, if we want to fish wild fish in a lake and use it as food, you know, with our fish population, it's impossible. You know, that would be the same as sending the people to pick berries in forests. That would be, you know, some extra, but that would not be something that they should do for a living. If we want to breed fish, if we want to engage in fisheries, we need to create ponds or closed facilities where we can provide best conditions, including sewage treatment and so on and so forth. We have also a case with Rich Lake, for example, where people put nets inside the lake. They fed the trout there, and they always had fresh trout. They didn't care about the waste settling down in the lake. It's the same as just, you know, bringing your trash out into a lake. Mr. Spruce, Katrina on Ieelpa and .lv has written, do the ministries, when they draft the legislation, attract you and other experts? Well, I would like to say that in majority of cases, ministries are very reluctant to invite us. They do sometimes, but very rarely.
You seem to be very deeply involved in all these processes. Of course, I am very well aware of the Cabinet of Ministers regulations, and I have also contributed to different amendments made. However, of course, it takes a lot of effort to achieve such changes. So we should probably applaud someone who fights for his ideas instead of just talking. So thank you very much, and of course also the colleagues from the Hydroecology Institute.